So I said that there were like 4 tips to work with the media when you're being reactive, but there's actually 5. So we have like this one more, and also an example of this particular topic, which is the topic of balance. So James Creighton reminds us that different professionals have definitions of what is truth. So scientists search for facts, and judges search for justice, or at least legality. Politicians search for equity, presumably, and journalists search for balance. So this is important, and this is why this is our 5th tip, is because you have to remember that when writing stories or like telling stories in the news media, being like video or whatever medium, journalists are often trained to include both sides of what might be a controversial topic, because that's like really what makes it newsworthy. And I would say that maybe these days, this assumption is you can assume that it might not be true, with like more of like corporate media that is like national media. But I would say that is still true with local news media, which is the one that you will be interacting with. And we will see an example to see what you think about covering 2 sides of the story. And also, I want you to find a news that is local news to see if they also have the 2 sides of the story. Maybe they don't, but this is kind of more part of the assignment, to trying to find something that is related to planning in a way. So the example that we will see is not a planner being interviewed, but it's related to a city, and in a way to a very important planning issue, which is homelessness. So the important piece here is that you have to remember that journalist is like telling a story, so it's not sending or advocating for one message, but they're just like telling a story, and that they're not advocating for anything in a specific. They're just like trying to show that reality is complex and there's different points of views, and sometimes there's like problems that are wicked problems, like that's what usually planners conceptualize it like, meaning that there might be problems that not have a solution that comes from one way, but you need a more holistic approach. In the case of homelessness, we're talking about social workers, we're talking about politicians, we're talking about planners. There's so many people that need to do a lot to be able to try to solve the problem, just to try to solve it. And you might say a problem like that is really unsolvable. But yeah, that's up for you to decide. So the point being is that all major positions often tend to be fairly and adequately presented, and no position is given an undue emphasis, or at least that's what presumably the media does. So we're going to test that a little bit in the class, because you're going to show me again some clips about how in the local news media that's true or not. But now we're going to like watch video for you to see that this is a case, and you actually will tell me what you thought about it in the reflection. I don't want to say that this is absolutely the case, but you come to your own conclusions.
3 days after a windstorm hit Salt Lake City, leaving damage everywhere. Cleanup efforts take shape. A group picks up debris.
That's people's stuff, and you don't care?
Though not the debris discarded by Mother Nature.
Stealing people's lives.
The Salt Lake County Health Department is carrying out a homeless encampment abatement.
Are you cool if our guys clean up the trash that's inside here now?
Upset community members follow the crew, closely monitoring every move.
People have no homes, they need resources. If you're not here to offer these
say this cleanup is dehumanizing to the city's unsheltered neighbors.
With no safe zones in the city, with the shelters being completely at capacity, there's nowhere for these people to go.
Before the cleanup, the tense exchange.
I just don't think there's any safety issue here.
If we rewind a full 24 hours to the day before cleanup day, it's a completely different scene.
Good morning. Can I chat with anybody in there? How are you? I'm Dale with the health department, and we're going to be doing a cleanup tomorrow in this area.
Dale Keller spends a couple of hours stopping at every tent, carrying out a cordial conversation with nearly every person to announce what's coming.
Good to see you. What's your dog's name? I forgot. Cheeto. Hello, sweetheart. We're going to be here tomorrow about 9:30 doing a cleanup. Do not want you to lose any of your belongings, and so anything that's left here will be considered abandoned. Need any help? Any bags?
I need bags. Okay, thank you. Thank you for giving me that long.
With less abatements happening during COVID-19, Keller says these camps have been growing in public spaces, making it unsafe because of things like needles, trash, and human waste. Keller explains it's a tough balance for them.
Kind of walk a tightrope here of respect and dignity to our unsheltered friends, but also there's a public health and environmental health component to this that is part of our job that we need to enforce as well.
He offers to connect the people he speaks with to resources.
Are you guys interested at all if I were to have social services like Volunteers of America or somebody come by and see if it...
Yes. Several take him up on it, like Jen and Jimmy.
I just really need somewhere to actually stay that's permanent, not have to move every night.
They're hopeful social services can help. They want a permanent place to call home with Duke.
Not looking for a handout, but at least to understand and not be judgmental about it. And if you can help us, you know, it'd be appreciative.
Just to try to find some housing? You're okay? Okay, guys, try to stay warm. Thank you. Have a good day.
But many decline Keller's offer, some asking.
The question that I get asked all the time is, don't want to go to the shelter, or there's no room at the shelter, or there's, you know, those type of, I just want to be left alone. Where do I go? And I don't have a good answer for that.
No good answer. Salt Lake City Mayor Erin Mendenhall has said herself the new homeless resource centers have been 97 to 100% full lately.
We have to think of wiser solutions to the problem. And right now, success is let's try not to fatigue an area.
After speaking with several groups, making sure they know what's about to take place in 24 hours and offering help, Keller leaves.
For any camps where Keller wasn't able to talk to people, the health department will post these notices telling people they've got 24 hours to clean their stuff up before the health department does it for them.
It's these notices that others in the community see, prompting the response on cleanup day.
Hey, put your foot off of that.
You know how easy it is?
Done. Did you tell him to
You're done.
Some unsheltered residents are upset they need to move their belongings with no good way to carry everything off the grass.
We'll be back, though. We ain't leaving for good. I'll be back later. As soon as you are gone.
Others were already prepared after Keller talked to them the day before.
He's been really nice, really nice. So right now I'm not complaining about nothing because he's allowing us to stay.
Community member Jordan Talley starts a dialogue with the health department.
The issue that we face, the issue that they face, is they are being dispersed. Yeah, they are moving. They are being told to leave this encampment, go somewhere else, and then they go where?
Right, no, and
There's not a resource that's set up.
It's a Band-Aid thing.
He says he hopes to work with the city.
I see kind of where a lot of this anger comes in. I feel it myself. However, to be effective, I think we have to just have conversations. Even if we don't agree, we have to be able to talk about this kind of stuff, you know, because it is an issue for everybody.
Even with constructive conversation happening, it's clear the cleanup is becoming increasingly difficult for Keller.
So are we just
Yeah, just go
Hope you
right
don't
down
make
there.
a
Thank
career
you.
out of stealing people's stuff.
Thank you. You know what? You're not going to tell me how to do my job.
Don't touch it. I will tell you
Please
as much as I want.
Please just don't.
It's
He's
too old
getting
for
it
this
right
game,
now.
man. You don't want to start that.
Eventually, he decides not to continue in some of the areas as planned.
We get that there are many pieces to this problem. Our focus is the public and environmental health piece, hence the fact that for the most part, we just picked up garbage and trash today and attempted to move on.
We found Jimmy and Jen again, all of their belongings packed in a wagon for a cleanup that didn't happen on their street in the Rio Grande area. They said no social services came to talk with them either.
It makes me feel frustrated and a little PO'd at them. I don't know what we're going to do as of this point. We could end up walking the streets all night, pulling wagons.
Pulling wagons to the next location, unsure what comes next. In Salt Lake City, Lauren Steinbrecher, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Okay, so your assignment here will be to see if this was covered in a fair way, in where you saw different perspectives from the public health department, but also the people who are experiencing homelessness and the advocates. And you will find a local story that is related to planning, and tell me if you thought that the coverage was fair. So part of the idea is that you, as a planner, will have to talk to the media, and most often 2 points of view will be presented. And the reporters, as I said before, they want to try to present 2 different points of view, and they, it's part of their job to do this, and again, presumably, so you're going to also analyze that in your discussion, and they oftentimes they could see themselves as trying to offer the public just different perspectives, and for them to come up to their own decisions. So let's see what you find, and if that's the case in the story that you choose. In the next part of this lecture, we will talk about how to proactively approach the media instead of reactively just responding to their request.